Welcome back to Geography World's channel where learning is fun. For this video, we will discuss the answers to question 4 on the 2018 May-June CSEC Geography Paper 2. Remember to follow Geography World channel on Instagram and Facebook using the link shown on the screen. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. Question 4 shows the world's major lines of latitude labeled A, B, C, M, and N. We are to study and then answer the questions that follows. Now the first question asks us to identify the lines of latitude labeled A, B, and C. The line of latitude labeled A is the Arctic Circle. The line labeled B is the equator. And the line labeled C is the Antarctic Circle. Now, question 2, section 2, it asks us to state the latitude for M and N. Now, the latitudinal reading for M, it is 23.5 degrees north, and this is the Tropic of Cancer. It is north because it's located above the equator. N, which is all the way down here, it is the South Pole, and it is labeled at 90 degrees south because it's below the equator. The poles, both the North and the South Pole, they measure 90 degrees north and south of the equator respectively. Question B asks us to identify two features of part 1, an atoll. Now, an atoll is a shallow, almost circular shaped reef that forms around a deep lagoon. An atoll is basically formed when the Fringe Reef continues to grow upward from a volcanic island that basically has sunken entirely below the sea level. Now we can get the features from the definition of an atoll. So the feature that an atoll is circular or oval in shape, and it is formed around a deep lagoon. Now part B of this question, or part 2 of this question, it wants us to locate two features of a fringe reef. Now a fringe reef, these are basically shallow water reef that run roughly parallel to the coast. Now two features that the fringe reef is separated from the coast by a very shallow lagoon, and it has a linear coral platform. Hence the reason it is located parallel to the coast. He asks us to outline 2 reasons why corals grow best in clear water. Now corals, they grow best in clear because it basically allows sunlight to reach algae cells, and this basically helps with the photosynthesis process, and we know that the corals, they thrive and they feed on the algae. Now clear water, it has sufficient oxygen levels that the corals depend on. Coral reefs depend on certain amount of oxygen in the water, and the clear water, it provides a good amount or sufficient amount of oxygen to basically help with the coral reef development. Now the clear water, it basically allows the sunlight to easily warm or alter the temperature, thus making it ideal for the growth of coral. Question C asks us to explain two ways in which coral reefs are beneficial to the Caribbean. Now corals, they are beneficial to us because they provide fishing opportunities. The coral reefs are home to many of the fishes in the Caribbean, so they act as breeding grounds or safe havens for fishes. So a lot of fishes can be found within our coral reefs. Now the coral reef, they act as a buffer zone. And a buffer zone is just like a coastline protection, where when we have hurricanes, storms, tsunamis, instead of the waves crashing heavily against the coastline, what happens is that the coral reef, they help to break the waves from further in the sea. So when they actually crash, they're not so destructive on the coastline. Coral reefs act as tourist attractions as well. We know that tourists, they want to go and they want to look, as well as pick pieces of corals as souvenirs. And we know that the coral reefs are classified as the rainforest of the sea, So it means that they're beautiful, and we know that tourists, they tend to go where they can see beautiful things as well. Mining. Corals are basically limestone rocks, and therefore limestone rocks are used in the building industry. So for example, they are used to make cement, they are used to make blocks. So corals, some places actually mine coral, right? And corals are also used for medicinal purposes. Now, some algae and the sponges found in the reef, they can be used in the pharmaceutical industry. Now, corals, they are important in bone grafts, and the chemical that they release by the polyps, they basically help to treat certain viruses. The corals have very good medicinal purposes or uses. As question B asks to describe 2 measures that can reduce the overexploitation of fish stocks in the Caribbean. Now, overfishing has been a problem in the Caribbean for many years. Now, a few strategies that can be implemented within the different Caribbean countries is that they create a distinct fishing season. For example, this is done in Bermuda. So maybe 3 months, like the first 3 months, you are able to go and fish, and then the following 3 months, you allow the fish to breathe, right? You leave them so that they can basically bring their family up to par, so that they can reproduce, right? So the other 3 months you allow fishing to take place, and then the other 3 months there is no fishing. So you can create distinct fishing season, as well as to state what types of fish can be caught within this particular season. Another thing that the Bermudan government implemented was the closing of the fishing pot industry. Now, fishing pots are just wire cages that they actually use to catch fishes on the reef. Now, what happened is that these wire cages, they will have to be anchored or hooked to some part of the coral. So what this does is that it breaks off sections of the corals. And sometimes when it has too much fish in there, the fish actually help to move the wire caging, which cause a lot of destruction in the coral reef. So countries could ban the wire caging or the fish pot industry, and move on to educating the fishermen about safe fishing practices and the safer ways to actually catch fish. So put a ban on the dynamite fishing. So all of those dangerous fishing activities will have to be banned, and then you educate the fishermen about the safe practices that they can use. And then a lot of countries in the Caribbean, they have basically established marine protected areas. So these are areas that are protected by the government, and this basically helps to keep the different countries, the different fishing industries safe. Thank you for watching this video. Please remember to like, share, subscribe, and turn on your post notification bell in order to receive more videos like this. Leave comments below suggesting geographic topics that you would like or want me to cover. Until then, bye.